So this weekend is the UFC Atlanta Fight Night card where Kamaru Usman will be headlining it against Joaquin Buckley. And honestly, the more and more I think about this fight, the more I'm actually scared for Kamaru Usman with this matchup. But before I get into it, if you guys can, please hit the subscribe button and let's shoot for 10 likes on this video. Anyways, let's get into it. Kamaru Usman, honestly, as much as I really like him, he's my top 5 favorite fighter of all time. What I'm really worried about for him heading into this fight is the ring rust. He's been inactive since 2023. And within that matchup, the reason why he lost against Chimaev was, the pace of that fight. He was fighting like it was a 5 round fight, and that was his first 3 round fight, and honestly, a very long time. So I can understand, that aspect of how he lost that fight. But now with the knee surgeries, that's a big question really is, how the knees are, the inactivity. And on top of that, Kamaru, he isn't as explosive, when he throws punches compared to Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin Buckley is a younger fighter. He's a stronger fighter, especially when he's in the pocket. He has a lot of, knockout potential power. And yeah, it's just there's a lot of pros for Joaquin Buckley within this fight. If you look at Buckley, he's 31 years old. He's coming off wins against Colby Covington, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Even though I do think Kamaru wins against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, I think the big highlight with Buckley was getting Colby out of there within 3 rounds. And Buckley, what I really like about Buckley in this match, as much as I'll say this, Kamaru on the technical side of things is a better fighter, but between the two of who really got the dog in them per se, Joaquin Buckley, if they were to trade shots, he'll get the better end of it. The guy has more knockout power compared to Kamaru Usman's hands. And Kamaru Usman's hands are lethal if, let's say, like they were more in range. But if it's in the pocket, and especially since he doesn't necessarily throw like all the sponges with most of his power, it's not the best look. And I think the knees really do play a factor when he is trading those shots against Buckley. I think the knees really is where you kind of like, let's say you want to pivot your strikes and all this stuff. Like your knees are a very essential point into like how you throw your punches into a certain aspect, especially with like the footwork, etc. All this stuff, right? Now, when it comes to the wrestling, Joaquin Buckley's wrestling isn't bad at all. Same with Usman's, honestly. I think Usman is actually better off with grappling than he is striking with Buckley. But again, same question when it comes to striking as it is to the wrestling part of the game, as well as his knees really at the end of the day. And I think Buckley, again, being explosive and not being a horrible wrestler, again, he could really use that to the advantage and really tire Usman out, since this will be his first fight in a couple of years. And with the inactivity part of it, what I will say is that if Kamaru Usman was able to have this fight like 2 years ago, I think Kamaru Usman wins this pretty easily. But it's just the age, it's the inactivity, it's the knees, it's the injuries. It's there's a lot of factors that are weighing against Usman. Where with Buckley, it's really not that many that I'm really concerned with. As long as he doesn't fall into Kamaru Usman's pace, I think Joaquin Buckley gets this fight within, I want to say, either a round 3 or a round 4 knockout. And yeah, that will be my prediction on this fight. Very excited for the fight. I'm hyped to see Kamaru Usman back in the ring. Joaquin Buckley is, a rising contender within this division. I think a win over Usman, honestly, can get him the next for the belt after Islam and JDM. And, there's a lot of contenders in welterweight, which are actually really interesting. And it gets that division actually, very competitive. Because not only there is, JDM Islam, right? Those two are going after that. After that, you have 3 to 4 options that are contenders. You've got the Shavkats. I'm walking Buckley with this win. Sean Brady, who's the #1 contender in this division. Ian Gary with his last fight. It's another fight and another win can get him in those serious conversations to a belt in the future. Not right now, obviously, since He lost against Shafkat and has just won against Pratos. He has to get at least one or two more. But even after that, he's someone that he can get into talk within those conversations of could he be up for the could he be up next for the belt as well. And so yeah, I think this welterweight division in 2025, and honestly, within 6 months will be 2026, will be a hot division. This being I think now this could be the number one weight class in the UFC. But if you guys like this video and want more videos like this, please hit the like, comment, and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.